Okay, I'm actually doing this as one of my live streams, because because this will also be one in my normal videos as well. But this will be obviously in a specific playlist that will be have been included with my documentation. Sorry, morning and mildly light sensitive. Uh, but um, Oh, I don't know if you heard that or not. But yeah, my back. That's part of why I'm doing a lot of the costuming stuff that I am is my research projects with assistive mobility technology, with an aim towards military and combat for one being one of my like benchmark standards. And it's mostly just a support frame. Uh, not a lot of electronics and everything, something that can be field repaired pretty easy. Uh, to just kind of be able to extend patrol and then have certain things in it like tens units and whatever else that will actually help with like massage and whatever else, because that kind of scenario gives you like implementing like all of my ideas into single package stuff, because like the 10 unit would be in like rehabilitation, where you could have a frame that would be custom built to you, either like a chair that you could sit in or whatever else with the pads in the chair, and it would actually pre-program to do massage or whatever else, or like various spinal conditions that make the spine curve. You actually could, one of the treatments for that is using the TENS unit to actually make the muscles straighten the spine out. So it's a lot of what I'm going to be doing is based on that research and stuff like that. That's why when I say that I am a inventor first and foremost, cosplay is just a really good way for me to be able to do that. Now, some of the things I may very likely have in this costume are uh, something like this is something I'm just kind of playing around with, and the oddish is the nerf herder itself. Just by the way, just some character notes. The nerf herder itself is it's a it's kind of this gestalt. Oh, I have to fix that. Oh, okay. I am definitely gonna have to fix that. Yeah, not that big a deal. It's a piece broke off the leg, but um, it's also like taking the ruby rod prop from uh Fifth Element. Sorry, mild aphasia. Which is one of the reasons I like doing these videos, because that way I can, you know, uh, hopefully edit out something coherent as well later on. But yeah, basically like the Ruby Rod staff, where you could actually like have a camera. I'm just kind of using things as benchmarks, but you could actually have a camera here, and then you could also have another camera here. So that way, when you're doing interviews and so on and so forth, you would actually be able to go and remember to stop looking at the screen, because the screen will actually be in the heads-up display, dumbass. Okay. Yeah, there's an entire other set of projects, but just like, so having the camera in there, having the other camera in this one, being able to look at me. And so while I'm doing interviews or whatever else for my YouTube, I'll actually be able to cut back and forth between cameras with a control or whatever else, like on my helmet or on my glove or something like that. So that's a lot of the stuff that I'm doing that isn't really cosplay stuff. Cosplay makes a very good prototyping platform for it. And then also, this is like, and one of those extending staffs, it ended up getting bent all along the way. And so rather than go through the effort because I can actually fix it. Um, it's because it's just a tension spring, but it's just gonna be easier just to order another one. But the entire this also is like I'm looking at mechanical concepts for another prop as well. That's also why this is deliberate. So that way, as I'm walking around the convention floor, I can, have that and then be able to grab it and be able to rotate into whatever position for, uh, excuse me. So yeah, that's basically my planning process and everything else as well. Sorry to get a little bit sidetracked there, but that's pretty much how that whole thing, works. And I will try to refrain from as much as possible when I'm actually doing, these videos for the documentation. But yeah, I need to actually put this in there so it does not get lost. All right. But yeah, but like for one, I'm actually working on a couple of props from Ruby, and this has a very similar, has like the similar rate of travel and or whatever else. So several of my props end up being multiple, multiple purpose at any given moment. But yeah, and that actually goes on a specific. Actually, it's a fanny pack that I normally wear. So when you see me wearing the specific fanny pack, this is something that I actually wear like on a daily basis, uh, or generally. Because like at least for what it is that I need on any given moment, it makes a really good everyday. It makes a very good EDC bag. But all it is just some whatever. It's got like reflective striping that I need to actually repaint. And just really good for like if I'm out walking and everything. But yeah, like some of my costuming actually integrates like what I do on a daily basis, because like when you're at the convention, and you need to get to your phone, whatever else and all. Yeah, right now this is one of the first things that I've actually done any like significant progress on. Besides, like I do have the right boot of the Hulkbuster built by this point. I've got the footprints, feet print, footprint, whatever. I got the few pieces applied with outline how big the foot is, which I'm gonna actually have to take down a little bit, or I may leave them how they are and then just reshape the foam to make an additional ridge, and then just kind of detail out the toe cap a little bit more or something. I can be pretty flexible with it because I haven't cut the left boot yet, and the right boot I'm going to end up having to take in a little bit because of the size change. Originally, it was going to be 6.5 feet because I wanted to pretty much just flex my engineering muscles because of how I would have had to articulate certain parts of it with the stilts as well. But just for safety and everything else, I take it down to 6 feet because that's only a couple inches taller than me. So I do have the clearance and everything else that I'll need. And then I'll be able to actually still using the support frame, maybe make modifications and turn it more into a I don't really want to go Stormtrooper with it. I'm really kind of liking the armor from StarCraft, where, uh, like Jim Raynor is one of my favorite characters. And I have to say, actually, on a personal basis, his friend that in the very first cutscene of StarCraft 2, and it's obviously he's in a prison. He woke up and he's strapped into this armor. And then the door opens and realizes, oh crap, this is the safety test of the armor, because when they put you in it and they expose you to the vacuum of space, if your head goes pop, your armor was not installed correctly. So I found out, I was like, I thought that was just, part of the storyline or whatever else, just the whole cinematic cutscene. I was like, no, we come to find out that whoever it is that actually created the idea for that, that was actually their, when they imagined the society that put convicted criminals in high power armor and handed them guns. I'm like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Oh my god, because okay, every kid, is like, oh, I would love to do that. I was like, okay, I have to say, if if I ever went to prison and the option was to end up in a power suit fighting the bugs, okay, fine, I would do it. And then realizing, oh crap, that wasn't just a cool cinematic sequence. That was to determine whether or not some tech decided they wanted to do their job that day. Oh wow. Oh, and so yeah, but I do like the armor from that, and so I'm really gonna kind of try to I really don't want to big daddy this thing. That's another issue that I kind of also have to be careful of, is that I may very well end up kind of drifting in directions with it rather than actually saying, okay, I am going to actually pick a endpoint design and go, just because the design process itself is just so much fun. So, um, but I do need to actually address. There's like I normally don't also talk about this stuff, uh, on this channel. It's just that, okay, because uh, like one of the things I definitely need to look for is a violinist, because one of the ideas that I have, I'm actually using this uh, as a guide point, because the lines, either way, make very good like position tracking and everything else. And so there's a lot of things I'm even going to be trying to integrate into the armor. Actually, that's one of the reasons why I'm covering this now, is so that way when I get to it, people who've actually bothered watching my channel will be able to go back and say, okay, yeah, he actually was doing this. He's not changing into a tech channel. It's just that for some of these builds, because I'm going to be integrating a lot of my projects, then I am going to be, like, it's going to get a bit techy when it's really supposed to be just the like Kamui cosplay, punish props, or any of that kind of crap. That is what it is, and that is supposed to be. Um, but yeah, I have, like, right now I'm calling it Arduino board, just because I don't know, the thought of somebody actually like taking me to court over calling it an Arduino board. when the, no, the name of my project is Arduino board, because it's on a board and it's based in Arduino, and I didn't feel like trying to come up with a name. Um, but yeah, but it was fuck your copyright. It's all one word: FUCKURCOPIWRGHT. Yeah, fuck your copyright is too long for a business card. And I already actually engraved my business card holder, which I don't know if you can see. Yeah, you can't. But what you would call it? Yeah, it's, never tell me the odds. I'm odd enough as it is. That's why the reasons why it is that on that staff I have an oddish, actually. But I also have like this one. It's got a lizard in it, but I actually got it to do a ghost build with, because I like it as the core. And so it's like, I will discuss that in a little bit. Oh, awesome. Yeah, that actually does fit. Oh, beautiful. Now, what I really want is the black stripe that is now it rotated. Anyway, I want another one 90 degrees just because, like, oh god, that would be perfect. Oh, 'cause I really just because I like the idea of having one of the ghosts that instead of it having the diamond is a square. And just for my little self-insertion fanfic. Yeah. Um, but yeah, one of the things like I was talking about with the light strip, that like for the I'm using this one and oh god, the thing is that it looks so much better on camera than it does and these are some of the things that I'm going to be using in the Hulkbuster armor. So I'm sorry, by the way, if you were actually watching this as a judge or because you're watching the documentation, like I said in the description, this one is actually intended to be one of my normal shows, but the other ones in the playlist will be more actually specifically focused on this is what I did with the leg, this is what I did with here, this is what I did with whatever. So this is me kind of covering a lot of generalities and everything, and then I'll actually do actual documentation videos. But yeah, this is just something I picked up at Walmart, just some cheap LED strip, one of these remotes and everything. So, and really all you actually really need to give a shit about is is this piece basically, because these LEDs are really simple and I can recreate this entire strip using red, green, and blue LEDs because it is a common ground and then it is a rheostat to each of the three. And so you can dial in whatever else. And so it really is just a matter of how much power the LEDs take. But you could do like lightsabers and everything else with these really well. So I really don't even need the remote and the receiver for it. I could actually take the remote and the receiver and just build my own strips. And I can just hook up rheostats to this. So either way. But one of the reasons why it is I also want to look for a violinist is because I've got an idea for various musical instruments, and violin is the one that I just kind of obsessed with about actually having it where you have this piece being where you actually strum over it with a bow and see if I can actually come up with a good thing with that. Now, you can also just, the fingers, if you have it angled at a certain way, you can do the fretboard as well here on the edge. So, and then any number of things using position tracking or whatever else. Like I said, a lot of the stuff that I'm doing is really not for my show, but because I'm going into some of this, I have to. Because one of the parts of my costume is going to be a Tron Legacy. Oh. Where did I put? I actually had not planned on showing my baton. So I'll have to get that out. But I actually have a very good, I've got the animations down completely. Now my next step is just taking all the hardware and getting a more screen accurate shell. I am going to go just a tad larger than the actual batons because the actual batons are really just a little too skinny for me. I really like the thing. And the fact is that just for what I want to do, I am going to have some bulk on it as well, because for me to be able to do the collapsing function on it, where that baton that you see in the movie, will be able to do various computer interface stuff with what I'm doing. But I want to either be able to make it collapse inwards in thirds or uh, down by half. Um, and so the hardware requirements of that. See, that's where it is that I'm good. I'm a hardware guy, and so I'm looking for software people. Uh, but the disc, also, just the uh, taking out the whole basic physics of holograms and everything else, because I also am working on the display technology, which right now I'm very promising on. The only thing is just actually just figuring out pico projections and isomorphic projection. Um, and also depending about whether or not I want to go with edge lit thin film LCDs, because I probably could as well, and it will really solve a lot of my design issues, especially if I have half the mask rigid and the rest of it in just a flexible thin film. Um, but yeah, being able to do things like that and being able to do the position sensing and everything else is going to come into play in the helmet because of my visibility issues. And so I'm going to be integrating a lot of the things from my computer system and everything in that, mostly through a heads up display. So that way, if I can actually find small enough displays that I can fit into an Iron Man or a Darth Vader helmet, then I will actually be able to integrate the thing. That's why Halo is really more the kind of helmet that I want to go with, and just kind of give it a Darth Vader treatment. And so I haven't decided that. It's just really a matter of picking up a Halo helmet, which I've got a couple of options on that. So, uh, just because of just the hardware itself and just the design, it's like, all right, cool. I can actually build this into that. And then from there, once I have an actual specific hardware profile, then from there, I'm good. I can do anything. I can actually build the full heads-up display into the Hulkbuster itself by giving it an actual plexiglass fucking bubble. So, but yeah, I have a Darth Vader helmet. That, uh, that right now is currently my this is actually what I wear when I go out. And so I can lift it up if when I do not need to be wearing it. Pop this down, and then all I have to do at this point is now work on ventilation and whatever else. And then I will be able to actually have a fully functioning cosplay helmet that I can wear around. And, hey, uh, and so that's just some of the stuff that I'm working on. One of the things that I really want to do is I want to get an Apache helmet. Like, yes, I get that Apache, like the actual, you look in the little pigeonhole monocle, and so I actually want to try to do using that. I actually want to use, at least the imaging tech. Like, I actually want to have like a bike helmet with an Apache reticle on there so that I can do Google Glass, like that. And then from there, I've got like some really good ideas with it. So, okay. And all right, I'm going to kill some time. So that way I can just, at the actual 25-minute mark is where it is that I'm going to do the actual documentation, like I said, in the, like I said in the description. So, yeah. Oh yeah, and the last thing that I put on there is actually with the Wiimote whiteboard, because with the interface tech, I'm going to be looking at a stylus that I can actually rotate. Oh, and if it's looking at a stylus that I can rotate with the Wiimote, you actually can have, if you do a reversal of certain things and you work it a certain way, you can actually have where the stylus is the two dots that it tracks. And you can check for radial movement because of the position tracking. If you have the calibration set correctly with those two little dots, then you can actually have this on a stylus, and you have a 2D plane in front of you with a leap controller. And as you break that plane, that's where it detects your touches and everything else. But as I said in the description, at the 25-minute mark, this is where it is I actually do the actual documentation for the Friday Night Costume Contest. What I'm doing is I'm doing a 6-foot Hulkbuster armor. I am going to be using a modification of James Bruton's Hulkbuster frame that is going to be sized for my armor, and it will be able to lock, and stand up while I'm not in it. I mean, mostly it's just, like I said, most of the design work's been done on that. I'm just pretty much taking the design and scaling it to mine, and then adjusting for mass, center of gravity, etc. And then once I've got that done, because like I'll be having that banner that I was with last year, but this time I'll actually be on a proper stave. And because the armor will actually be gripping that will actually act as a tripod. So that's why I'm also not too worried about balance issues or anything else on it either. So the Sword of Omen's lightsaber that it will have as well is one of my, oh God, yes. I remember the cartoon and everything, and I'm just like, okay, this thing is large. Even for an Ultra Saber, this thing is like, this thing is, I can't even get it. I can't even get the entire thing in the screen near. And so yeah, this is just, it's too large for dueling. I mean, I actually could, if I was doing full combat, basically like full style medieval style combat, because I actually can use a two-hander. I actually can use a two-hander like a longsword. It's just because that's just how I learned. I didn't realize that I picked up a two-handed sword. It's just I have a like really freakish upper body strength. So, but yeah, this is what thing, and I'm gonna actually be going in through the power button, so that way as it's in there, and then what I will be able to. So yeah, this actually free spins. I'll lock it down for the thing, but part of my thing is being able to do the mode change. If I'm actually like, or if I'm doing fighting styles, being able to adjust the grip, would be something that I would do in a lightsaber if I was custom building or whatever. So as I said before, a lot of my props do have multiple purposes, but yeah, I actually can still remove the entire head if I actually just grab the blade itself. But yeah, this is the Sword of Omen's lightsaber, and I actually was told I had to piece bond this thing. And I haven't decided whether I'm going to put it on yet, but I have the Titan shield from GameStop. Yeah, I have the Titan shield from the game Destiny that I will very likely be adding onto the armor, just because it will look really cool when I've done the lights and everything else in that. And because it just seems really cool to have the sword and shield with the holding with the banner as well. And I also have a Captain America shield that shoots foam discs that, because I am, I call myself a fanfic artist, and I really am not into fanfic or whatever. It's just because I like doing custom work. Then I call myself a fanfic replica artist. And then just the number of things that I'm trying to add to this. I'm trying to test myself as an engineer. And also just kind of just poking fun at how it is that when people are doing fanfic, sometimes they just throw in so many things, and it's just like you don't know how it works, but it somehow does. Ugh. Okay. Materials. Right now, I've been using 6mm EVA 36. And it's actually a white foam just because I decided on the off chance I was going to actually give it a stormtrooper skinning, then having the white foam will help because then all I have to do is just kind of touch up the white paint if I get the smudges out or anything. And then like with the UV resins or whatever else, is what my plan is actually on the shell is to go in and actually just paint on UV resin and harden it. I don't know whether I'm going to do that this year, but that will be something that will eventually be happening to this shell. And because UV resin does have an exothermic reaction, I'm gonna have to take that I'm gonna have to just take that in sections because I really don't know if that little resin will heat up enough to be an issue. So I'm gonna take it slow and just see how until I can actually see how long, because it will make a very good production method. But with the Wiimote tracking, by the way, just a quick note now that I will need to refer back to the Wiimote thing. I have this one toy that all I have to do is actually identify all of the parts from it, and it's really good because it was this Wiimote clone that will be very good for the armor, because I want to enable some sort of wrist rotation. Then I may end up implementing something like the Wiimote, kind of like something along that technology, because I do like the motion sensing on it. It really was very good. I just need to find out whether or not that, or if I'm going to just have to go with some sort of gyroscope or something to detect the motion of that. But yeah, let's see. I will also have to do better notes. But yeah, EVA 36 foam. I'm actually using, I can't remember where it is that I got the file from. Somebody else actually ended up taking the same file that I was given originally and resectioned it. So I'm actually using like the second or third edit of a really good program or a really good file, but I'm actually using the original file that I had done because for ease of building. I will be using the second version that I got, which is much more detailed to do things like the toe caps and various places on there that were just so much more detailed, because that really might actually be better as a paper build. And so I've got both of those files sized exactly the same now. So a lot of the stuff that I'm going to be also trying to implement in the suit are things like missile hatches and various other ones that I can make through the pop-up stuff and all. Plywood frame. Originally, I was going to have it was going to be 6 inches higher, and so that would necessitate me being on stilts. And then the problem came with trying to articulate the ankle, which I'm glad I actually watched further into the series that helped us your series before I started this. And so I don't know if I'm going to have it on this one, but my the frame will eventually have an articulated ankle, which will make walking so much easier. I am actually trying to get into doing cosplay, not only as I talked about earlier in this video, even with prototyping platform, and it just being a really good way because of having to actually put what you're doing in this size area. to be able to go around and be able to like do interviews and whatever else with people, or be able to just take pictures and stuff like that. Um, and so it's just a lot of really good ways to try to also just even just bring some of the things that people love about the movies and shows that they watch to life. Like I actually talked to somebody who said that if they actually could find a working ruby rod walking stick that had a microphone that he could connect to actually do his podcasting with, like he would pay serious bank for that. So that was another reason why I got into cosplay, is because, oh yeah, the money. Like I am not gonna lie. I mean, I'm not in it for the money. It's just that if I sell a prop that for like $200, that gives me about $150 worth of like Raspberry Pi and wire and solder that I can get to build my real projects, like my like the homebrew Vive. Like I right now I actually have the controllers. I really want to find the Move controllers that actually have the balls on them already, just because I like the way that they light up and everything. So that's something I can work on. And mostly just because I want to be able to have it where you can just have the equipment in there, and you have your single player, and instead of having to pick up which specific ones, you could have all four on the rack, and you grab number 2 and number 3. Those both pair to you and turn blue, and somebody else wants to come in, they can grab the other ones, those turn red and pair to player 2. And so that's just like the way I want the experience of that to go. So that's also some of the stuff that I'm going to be working on with my thing. All right. So yeah. Okay. So that works for about 10 minutes worth of documentation on the uh, okay, and I have to go deal with real life for a little bit. So your stream will stop, and you will no longer be live. I'm sorry. Oh God. Yeah, I should definitely try to ignore the messages or the notifiers that you get, because I'm heavily into like a kind of a Deadpool persona thing right now, because a lot of the stuff that I'm doing centers around a Deadpool aspect. The Imperial Nerf Herder character kind of takes a video of its own, so I will deal with that